All right, beautiful, beautiful stuff. The first thing I noticed was the shifting seems to affect you a little bit with the left hand.
The shifting,
yeah, particularly like bar 14 going into bar 15.
14.
So that you're in the first position. And getting to that chord. So maybe if we could go from somewhere around there and put that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get there, it's great. It's just, I think, actually getting there, it's just sometimes it takes you a little longer than I think you want it to.
Yeah.
And I think what will help is if you anticipate a little bit. So when you play that open E in bar 14 at the end of the bar, you can already start sort of shifting. You can move your elbow in anticipation. You can get the shape of the chord ready. So see what I'm doing there?
Yeah.
But that the shape ready. My elbow is down, so it's ready to just do that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, it needs a bit of work, yeah.
And the other thing about shifts, which is like paradoxical, I think, is that the faster you try to get there, the harder it is. The slower, the more time you take, the easier the shift is. So, and the more time you take, the less you can hear the shift. I guess with shifting, you don't. It's not that you don't want to hear the shift, but you don't want the shift to affect the musical outcome, basically. So if you take a little bit of time, take your time to get there now. Now that you're preparing, you can actually intentionally take your time with the movement of the shift. Like don't make the shift too sudden, right? The movement of the shift, don't make that too sudden. Make the movement fluid and gradual. Try that. Yeah. Yes, that's good. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, great. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Now I think there's another one. Bar 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Could you play somewhere around there? Nice, good. Oh, that scale sounded good that time. That little. That was really nice. Could you try it once again? So I'll watch your hand. I see, you're using your second finger for the... Yeah, you're using your second finger for the C.
Yeah.
That's good. I think it sounded good. Just something to add to it is when you do a shift like that, you don't have you don't have a guide finger with the shift, but you can create one. So you can actually use your second. You can kind of I've come up with a name for it. It's like guide finger. So it's like it's not actually, you don't actually have it on the fretboard, but you're
ready to go.
Right, it's like ready to go. You're sort of putting it onto the string that it's going to shift on, and then using it as a guide.
Ready to go. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And maybe maybe you want to keep the shape of this barre. Because you're also taking a bit of time, because when you do that and then you have to put the bar back.
Yeah.
So maybe you can keep that also as part of the guide. Give that a shot. Just play the other side, yeah.
get a bit, yeah, okay, so, there's a guide finger, so this beat basically becomes a 2.
Yeah, and that's keeping that shape of the bar, because that can also help a lot, just to keep the continuity of the melody going. Yeah. Otherwise, there's this kind of big gap. After the C, there's this big gap from having to put the bar back if you don't. It's not ready already. That just allows it to kind of, if you want to take your time on the C, you can, but it's not a result of your technique doing
Right,
it. Yeah.
So on that, the C,
It is a crotchet, so it's long, it's long.
It's long, okay.
But, I think before it was a bit too long, but because you just a little fraction too long before.
Yeah.
Because of the action of you putting your finger onto having to move your index finger to get the B in the bass that follows. But so now with that fingering, you have control of the music. It's like if you want to take time, you can do that. If you want to just play in time, you can do that too. So I think I just have like a thought that's like kind of what good technique is. It gives you options. It doesn't like box you in. You know, if your technique's dictating the music, then it sort of boxes you into one way of playing it, playing the music. It's like it has to be played that way because of the mechanics of what's happening with your hand. But if you find a way of controlling things, controlling every element of the technical part of it, then it gives you more options. If you want to take time, you can. If you want to play in time, you can do that. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Couple of things. I think the only other main excuse me. The only other main thing that I'd like to look at is the dynamics. And this is where additions come. I don't know if this addition is reliable for the dynamics or not. Is this the addition that you have? It's like got a red.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like that. Is that the one you've got?
No. Oh,
no. Sorry.
Yeah. This one here.
So yeah, it's got as you said, it's got that 6-8-3-4.
Yeah. That's the one I have got. Yeah. But it's pretty faded.
Pretty faded. Yeah. So at bar 5 here, it doesn't say piano. This one says piano going up to forte. This just has a crescendo, so not really. It gives you more options there, I guess. And then that's the same.
It's really a piano there, is it?
Yeah, it doesn't say piano, so it could be louder than piano, or but then the decrescendo going down to mezzo fortes, that's here in this version. I'm also curious about the fingering, so that's using that. Wow.
That's a bit weird, that fingering, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like what you're doing with the... Yeah, so...
It's a big jump. I think it's a big jump to go.
I think it does, if you use this fingering, I think you can get to the C faster.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a bit uncomfortable because it's sort of, you have to really go out of position to get there. Yeah.
It just feels a bit unnatural.
Yeah, it's a bit unnatural. Yeah. But that's okay. I think we can keep with what you were doing. I think that's fine. Yeah. And then here, this crescendo starting. There's a crescendo there, and then that's here. That's bar 14. This is again, they put piano going to forte, where it doesn't, in here it just has a crescendo. So T crescendo, piano on the harmonics, yes, con grazia. Now this doesn't have forte with con grazia, and here it does. So
it doesn't.
I'd be more inclined to play that sweeter and softer. So I think that that's why I feel like every time there's a crescendo in this edition, they've just put piano and forte. That's one thing. Yeah. So like at bar 26, it's the same thing. They've put piano at the start, forte at the end for that crescendo, where it's not in the original. All right. I think everything else is pretty good. The fingerings and the slurs. Oh, there's a roll on this chord at the end. Second time bar.
Oh yeah.
There's a roll there that's not in the other edition. I think that's.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. All right. And now, so while there are some dynamics indicated, I think you can do more than what's indicated. So for but what is indicated actually gives us some clues, which is cool. So, for example, this crescendo here, the line is rising, the melody is rising up. And then this decrescendo here, the melody's falling. And then it's the same here, the melody's rising up. Crescendo, and then the melody falls, decrescendo. So it's following the shape of the line. Here again, rising up. So I think we can actually do that whenever the melody's rising. So like here, for example, right at the start, that could be a little crescendo. And then perhaps coming down to I guess the A would be the high point, and then it's coming down.
Yeah.
It's just gradually coming down to that D, and then down to the G sharp, and that's the low point. Sometimes it's useful to sort of give yourself some boundary notes like that. It's like, what's the high point? What note is the one that I want to be at the top? Yeah. And what's the one at the bottom? So the A, the top, the G sharp, where the crescendo mark starts, is the bottom of the melody. So, do you want to try and give that shaping to the first four bars or so? cool, nice. And it's really important, I think, especially that decrescendo. That one I think is very important because it's the end of the first 8 bars. It's the end of the first phrase there. So it's really important that that comes out. With decrescendos, I think we've talked about this before, like it's the last note or two are very important. If you start doing a decrescendo and then make the last couple of notes loud, it takes away the effect. So you've got to keep it going all the way to the end. Yeah. Good. That was nice. Maybe you want to try that once again?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And if you can keep that crescendo going, which I think you've done in the past. That E is probably, that's the high point of the whole section, of the A section. So that E can be, really, that's the real high point of everything. Otherwise, that was good. Yeah, decrescendo, and yeah, restarting the phrase. You might want to also, where it's that mezzo forte, perhaps there could be a brighter color as well. So, like the first, I feel like you've got a sort of a dark color at the opening. So then maybe the second phrase, could be perhaps slightly punty or something to give some contrast.
Yep.
Could you want to try from the second phrase?
Yeah.
9 or bar 10, whatever that is. That's bar 10. Yeah, bar 10.
Oh yeah. You want me to go through and play the repeat with Pont? Is that the aim?
Oh no, I was thinking playing that where you just started.
From bar 10 to the end of that section.
Well, maybe not all the way to the end, but at least the start. Or you could do that. The other option is you do have the repeat, so maybe the second time you could start the whole section. Pont. It's sort of up to you what you prefer. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Nice shaping. Very good. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and then so maybe the second, now that I'm repeating the section. You could vary the color. You could also vary the articulation a little bit as well. So maybe some short articulations, perhaps, with the pont. Would be one idea.
When you say the articulation, what do you mean by that again? Sorry.
The shortness or
the shape of
the length of the notes. So
okay,
how short or long the notes are.
Notes, yeah.
Not the stretching of them. Not the stretching of them. The that would be more to do with rubato. But how long or short? So like you can play them legato, which would be like that, or staccato, or semi-staccato. Yeah.
Okay, so the articulation, you mean the difference between sort of variations between, you know, legato to staccato.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep. That can give quite a different character. Like if it's a legato with a dark color, has that kind of effect. If it's staccato with a brighter color, it's got a very different character to it.
That's probably a bit too staccato, but
See how you feel, you know, when you play the whole piece from the start. It is nice to hear, as a listener, it's nice to hear contrast like that. When you've just heard the section and then you hear it again, it's sort of, you know, unless there's, in my view, unless there's sort of quite a bit of variety the second time, that variety really adds interest to it. Like we've just heard the section, hear it again, and then if there's a lot of variety, it really perks up the listener. It's like, oh wow, that's, you know, that's different, you know. So I kind of liked what you did that time. Yeah. Something that can help with staccato, because staccato can sound and feel a little bit unnatural, but the way to make it feel more natural is to use your left hand and lift off your fingers with the left hand to create the staccato. So I'm lifting off my fingers very quickly to create that effect. So it depends how much staccato you do is dependent on how quickly you lift your fingers up. So if you want the very staccato, then lift them up very quickly. Yeah. If you want a gentle, like a more gentle staccato, then just lift them up a bit slower. That's nice. That's a nice. I like that. That's a nice balance to me.
It's harder to do further up, doesn't it? When you got
chords. Yeah, it's hard. You don't have to do it all the time. Just in passages where you can. I'd recommend listening to Alirio Diaz if you haven't. already. Have you listened to him
Play it.
play it?
Probably not. No.
Yeah, have a listen. I'll see if I can find the recording and send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but he'd be a very good, informative listen to listen to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe before we move on to the next section, I did want to talk about the harmony in this piece. And something that's good to do with a piece like this is actually to play the chord progression that underlies it. So it's in E minor. It's actually quite a simple chord progression. So the first two bars would just be E minor.
Yeah.
And then the next bar 3, is an E7 chord. Probably the D sharp will clash with that, but that's cool. Going to A minor in the next bar. For the next two bars, that is, actually.
Next two bars, yeah.
Yep. So the A and the bass. The bass line kind of gives it away a little bit. And then the next bar is B, could be B major or B7. For the next two bars, actually. And then E minor. And then B7. Let's just try that much. So, could you play those chords like, sort of a waltz? I mean, this particular waltz has a kind of running. Maybe if you could do like 1, 2, 3, something like that.
Something like that, or?
Yeah. So the first bar would be an upbeat. So you'd think of yourself strumming the chords starting in bar 2. So it'd be like starting there, bar 2. So try to count it. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, you're holding the chords for the same duration as they're written for. Yeah, so you're doing it like double. If you're sort of doing, maybe you're thinking in 6/8.
Okay, so
try and think of in 3/4. So you have like three like beats in each bar. 3, and then change. Yeah, so you're doing too many. I think you're doing too many. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then change 1, 2, 3, change 1, 2, 3. So 2 bars. So it'd be for the A minor is 2 bars. So you could 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And the B is 2 bars. to change on the E minor.
Oh, the E minor's on. I thought the E minor came in.
No, you were in the right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you were about a beat early.
Yeah, I was a bit early, so.
A beat early. Yeah.
So yeah.
E minor, and then it goes to B7 quickly again after that.
So B7, the next bar after that.
Next bar, bar 9. Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah, all right. So it's.
Yeah. Spot on. Great. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Doing this, it really helps because this music would probably be played with, you know, if you went to Venezuela, which you probably wouldn't want to do at the moment, but yeah, you probably hear this music being played in an ensemble, and there would often be probably be someone strumming a chord progression and then someone else playing the melody.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And you can actually, if you listen to John Williams's album, I think it's called El Diablo Suelto or something like that.
Yeah.
He's Venezuelan, he's playing Venezuelan music. And on a couple of tracks he plays with someone strumming on a, I can't remember what kind of instrument, it's like a smaller guitar, and he's strumming along, and it has a completely different effect to the music. But you can do this. So what you're doing now is you start to hear the chord progression that's underneath, and it will change, I think, how you also hear the melody, because, for example, in bar 2 you're playing an E minor chord, but there's an A on the first beat, so that doesn't belong to the chord of E minor, so it's going to have a bit of a sort of a striking effect, bit of a clash to the chord, to the harmony. In bar 3, if you're thinking of that chord as an E7 chord, then you've got the F sharp and the D sharp, and they really will clash with that. And then in the next bar, bar 4, you're playing an A minor chord, but the melody's starting on D. And then in bar 5, playing an A minor chord, the melody's starting on G sharp. In bar 6, you're playing a B7 chord, the melody's starting on E. Right, so you can see there's all these like crunchy notes that the melody's starting on for each chord. Notice how bars 14 and 15, they are B chords and they start on B, so they don't have that sort of crunchiness to them. It's the same with bar 9. It's a B chord, B7 chord. It's starting on D sharp, so that's part of the chord, so it doesn't have as much of that kind of. Do you sort of hear it, like now that you've played the chords, I played the melody, tried to sort of, maybe if you try and play it once more and see if you could feel that there's a sort of a pull and a crunch to those first notes of the bar when they clash with the harmony. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Beautiful. Yeah. Did that all of this sort of change? Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to sort of see, understand a little bit how the music's. I don't know how people write music like that. You know, like you know, do they really? Yeah, you know, what notes to put in. I suppose it just comes out of their head as a tune or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's a skill.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, looking at it from this kind of, it's pretty straightforward. It's like there's a pretty straightforward chord progression if you think about it. Like they're very guitar-y chords: E minor, E7, A minor, B. And actually, it doesn't really go outside of those chords in this section. It's just really those chords. It is essentially, I think we talked about this tonic, predominant, dominant tonic. It's the sort of 1, 2, 5, 1 progression, or 1, 4, 5, 1 progression. In this case, 1, 4, 5, 1. E minor, A minor, B, E. So, so it's a very, very basic chord. 1, 4, 5, 1. Yeah. It's a very, very basic chord progression that's used in popular music, up to now.
Yeah.
But what he does with it is very interesting. Like, it's very, very interesting. It's very elaborate, and he's using these crunchy dissonances or non-chord tones at the start of the bars, especially to create, that creates the beauty, really. It's when you hear those. When you hear all those notes that don't belong to the chord, that's when it's really beautiful. Like in bar 5 and 6, you've got all these chromatic notes in between, right? Like the G sharp, the A sharp, the C double sharp, the E sharp. It's like, that's what creates the beauty. Plus the rhythms that he's using as well. These beautiful flowing, these rhythms that he's using. They're dotted. There's a kind of a rhythmic motive with the dotted crotchet in the melody, going to the quavers. You can see, like in bar 2, bar 4, bar 8, bar 10, and bar 12. You can see. Can you see how that's recurring? Yeah.
It sort of becomes like a 6/8, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's something we haven't looked at yet. Sometimes it's actually, it's sort of 3, 4, and 6/8 at the same time. As well as alternating. So like the bass line. 1, 2, 3. I think the bass line is in 3, 4, and the melody is in 6/8. It's like 6/8 is 2 groups of 3. Actually, I don't even know how it's in 6/8. 1, 2, yeah. I have to think about that for a little bit. It's 3, 4. The notes will be grouped in 2s. So like in bars 5 and 6, for example, because of the slurs, they're grouped in 2s there, and that's how I sort of hear. I kind of hear it like that for the majority of the piece. So it might be in the B section where it goes into. Anyway, something to think about.
Yeah. The B section is quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. And so it contrasts, it changes key too. So it goes to what key is that section in?
That's a good question. E minor's, it's like probably a major.
Yeah, it is a major. Yeah.
So it would be, G?
Yeah.
A G major.
G major. Yeah.
But it's got a, this one sort of is not really a G because it's got the F sharp.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a G here.
And then it goes to a G. Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of move, which is interesting, isn't it? So,
definitely. Yeah, it gives you some direction, I guess, for that first chord. It sort of has some momentum towards the G chord there. So that first chord is actually a D7 chord.
A D7?
D7, which is the 5 chord, the dominant chord of G.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a very, very simple chord progression. It's just 5-1, dominant to tonic. But what he does with it is really beautiful. How he has this sort of... the E is really beautiful. So you're playing D7, which has the notes D, F sharp, A, C. But then he's adding the E, which you can call the ninth. Keeps it going, so in bar 21 you have the G chord with that open E above it as well, and that's very beautiful.
And then it goes back to this part's quite nice.
Yeah.
It's got this sort of, and
that's 6/8 right there. That's 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only place that I've really seen a clear 6/8. Yeah.
And, so that's back to a B7.
Yeah. So that's going back to...
And then back to a E minor?
Yeah, that's right. Back to the E minor. So that's a little transition modulating back to E minor.
Yeah, okay.
And again, he's starting on the dominant chord, going towards the tonic, so that dominant chord sort of has direction. Has momentum towards the goal of the tonic, right? So can you kind of hear that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. All right. So what I'd encourage you to do is, you've actually played the chord progression for most of the piece, but there is that bit where it goes to G major. You can strum through the chord progression there. And I don't know if you've done much. So something that I like to do is play the chord progression and like hum the melody or sing the melody or whistle the melody or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really great exercise if you can do that, because it's like you're accompanying yourself on the guitar, singing the melody. Maybe we can look at that next time, because that really helps you get into the spirit of the music, the rhythm, strumming the chords, getting the groove of the rhythm, and then singing or humming the melody to hear, to see how they fit together, how the harmony and the melody sort of work together. And then I'll send you some recordings as well to listen to. But yeah, so just mostly, yeah, I guess the two big things were shifting and dynamics. So just adding, following the shape of the line, he's already doing a little bit in the music, but with the indications. But yeah, following the shape of the line, and then in terms of the harmony, just sort of as we talked about those crunchy notes, the starts of the bar, how you can kind of sort of linger on them and make them really expressive. Right? So you were doing that already, but just to, it just helps you clarify, understand, I guess, what the function and purpose of those notes are, why they have that effect, right?
Yeah.
Which I think, gives you a deeper understanding of why we play, how we play. All right. But it's sounding beautiful. Great. I really, I was very, it was really nice to hear you just lighten up on that right hand a lot.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
So it's great. Really helpful. I think that's going to help a lot in a lot of different pieces, Yeah. So, all right. Awesome.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you. All right. See you next time.
Catch you.
Cheers. See you later. Bye.